Okay, so let's unpack this. Have you ever found yourself trapped in a mental loop, kind of agonizing over every tiny detail, unable to quiet that relentless inner monologue?
Mm-hmm.
When a small worry inflates into like a full-blown existential crisis, leaving you utterly drained,
Yeah.
you are absolutely not alone. For this deep dive, we've plunged into the fantastic book, Stop Overthinking. 23 techniques to relieve stress, stop negative spirals, declutter your mind, and focus on the present by Nick Trenton.
It's a great resource.
Our mission today is to, cut through that mental clutter and equip you with practical, powerful tools to reclaim your calm and sharpen your focus.
And what's so compelling here is how truly universal this experience of overthinking is,
Mhm.
really.
Right.
And yet, how often we completely misunderstand what's actually happening in our minds.
Mm.
We're going to pull back the curtain on why our brains, these incredible instruments, sometimes seem to work against us.
Okay.
Then, crucially, we'll dive into actionable strategies to regain control and find that, elusive inner peace.
Let's set the scene then. There's this relatable example in the book. It introduces us to James, a kind, intelligent, and maybe a little too self-aware young man.
Uh-huh. We all know someone like James. Maybe it's even ourselves sometimes.
Exactly. So he notices a health niggle, like we all do sometimes, researches it online, gets immediately alarmed.
The classic WebMD spiral.
Totally. And then for a moment, he actually stops himself, which is good.
Right.
But then the real spiral begins. He starts stressing about his thoughts, about his health.
Ah, the meta level. Thinking about thinking.
Yes. And this quickly snowballs into an internal debate about therapy, rumination on past criticisms, magnifying his flaws,
Oh, wow.
leaving him depressed and no closer to an actual decision. And what's truly fascinating, I think, about James's story is how relatable that internal spiral feels for so many of us.
Indeed. And it highlights a key point. Overthinking isn't simply thinking a lot.
Right.
It's what our source defines as excessively harmful mental activity.
Harmful activity. Okay.
Yeah, it could be analyzing, judging, monitoring, evaluating, controlling, worrying. Basically, any mental process that feels awful doesn't actually help solve the problem and leaves you feeling stuck.
How do you know if it's crossed that line? From just thinking to overthinking?
Well, you'll probably recognize it as a problem if you're often really conscious of your own thoughts, if you engage in meta-thought that's thinking about your thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
if you try to control them or find yourself constantly questioning or doubting your choices. It's when our normal thinking just goes into this, unproductive overdrive, causing real distress.
That's a crucial distinction then. It sounds like we're often treating the symptom, not the root cause.
Exactly. The book makes it really clear. Overthinking isn't really about the specific problem you're fixating on.
So James's mole.
James's mole wasn't the cause of his overthinking. It was the result, or maybe the target, of an underlying pattern.
Right.
In fact, Trenton's work posits that overthinking is often just anxiety in disguise. It's the effect, not the root issue itself.
So, okay, this raises the big question. Where does this anxiety, this underlying pattern, actually come from?
Good question. The book suggests it's multifactorial, a complex mix of elements.
Not just one thing.
No, definitely not. Well, some research, like there was a 2019 paper suggesting genetics can play a small part. The book really emphasizes that the vast majority of our anxiety, maybe around 74%, is shaped by our environment and lifestyle.
Okay, so that's actually good news in a way.
Yeah.
It means we have power to change it.
Immense power, yeah. One internal factor that keeps us stuck, though, is the illusion of productivity.
Ah, okay. Explain that.
Overthinking feels like you're doing something about a problem, right? You're turning it over, analyzing.
Mm-hmm. Feels active.
But it's often the mental equivalent of just spinning your wheels in mud, you know? A lot of frantic activity, but no actual forward momentum.
Right. Leaves you exhausted and exactly where you started.
Precisely. And of course, our insecurities can act as very specific triggers, amplifying self-doubt and kicking off that cycle.
So we've looked inward at, personal predispositions.
Yeah.
But how much of this struggle is actually being amplified by the world around us?
That's a great point. And it leads us straight to environmental factors. Genes might nudge us one way, but life events often play a much bigger role. Chronic stress, whether it's from work, relationships, the relentless news cycle.
The news cycle.
Right. Or traumatic events like bereavement, divorce, childhood trauma. These can simply overwhelm our coping mechanisms.
Sure.
And even our immediate physical surroundings matter more than we might realize. Clutter, poor lighting, persistent noise.
Little things.
Yeah, seemingly little things can significantly impact our baseline anxiety levels, kind of keeping us perpetually on edge. It's not about finding a stress-free life, that's impossible, but maybe finding an environment that's optimally suited to our
Okay,
needs.
so it's not just inside us or around us, but maybe how we process it all, how we interpret everything.
Exactly, precisely. This brings us to what the book calls the secret ingredient, our mental models.
Mental models. Okay.
This is actually where we have the most control. It's not the load itself, but how we choose to carry it,
Right.
our unique cognitive style, the frames we use to see the world, our inner dialogue, even our sense of identity, all determine how we interpret and engage with events.
Can you give an example?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you tend to have an external locus of control, meaning you believe outside forces dictate your life more than your own choices,
Okay.
you might see a challenging situation as this insurmountable threat, not an opportunity or a challenge to overcome.
And then you act accordingly.
You behave as if it is a threat, which often leads directly to anxiety. We respond not to stress itself, but to our perception of it.
That really drives home our agency in this. Is quite empowering, actually.
Yeah.
But what happens if we don't address this? What are the consequences of just living in this constant state of overthinking?
Well, the effects are, they're far-reaching and pretty insidious. Overthinking stimulates the HPA axis, that's our body's ancient fight-or-flight response system, constantly keeping it on high alert. Physically, this can lead to a racing heart, persistent headaches, muscle tension, chronic fatigue, disturbed digestion, even a suppressed immune system.
Wow. That's a lot just from thinking too much.
And chronically, it contributes to serious issues like cardiovascular disease and insomnia. Mentally, we experience exhaustion, irritability, poor concentration, depression, which then just reinforces more negative thinking.
It's a vicious cycle.
Totally. And socially, it damages relationships, impairs work performance, can lead to withdrawal or even harmful coping behaviors. It's a destructive spiral impacting our entire well-being.
Okay, that's the bad news.
The good news, as the source really emphasizes, is that overthinking is optional.
Optional. I like that.
We absolutely can retrain our brains.
That's incredibly empowering to hear. So let's talk solutions. The book offers, you said, a treasure trove of techniques. Where do we begin to unwind these patterns?
A crucial starting point is developing self-awareness, but self-awareness without judgment. That's key. And one really fundamental technique is the 4 A's of stress management.
The 4 A's. Okay, what are they?
First A, avoid. Can you simply walk away from unnecessary stress?
Like what kind of things?
This isn't about shirking responsibilities, right? It's being strategic. Think about choosing a quieter time at the grocery store instead of battling Saturday crowds.
Okay.
Or, and this is crucial, setting firm boundaries with demanding people. Saying no sometimes.
That really reframes how I think about setting boundaries. It's not avoidance in a bad way. It's proactive stress management.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Second A, alter. If you can't avoid it, can you change the situation itself?
Oh.
This means communicating your needs directly, maybe negotiating or breaking down large, overwhelming tasks into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay.
Imagine asking builders, for example, to just pause a noisy activity for 10 minutes while you take a crucial phone call. You always have the option of asking others to change their behavior slightly, or cutting down unavoidable situations to a more manageable size.
Right. And if it's truly beyond your power to change, that's where it gets tough for a lot of us, I think.
Then you move to the third A, accept. For what truly cannot be changed, you accept it.
But that sounds like giving up.
Not necessarily. It doesn't mean you like it or that you're resigning yourself to defeat. It means validating your emotions about it. Yes, this is frustrating and coming to terms with the reality of the situation.
Okay.
Forgiveness, for instance, is often less about the other person and more for your own peace of mind. Or maybe reframing your internal language. Okay, I made a mistake, but it doesn't define me.
How do you actually get to that point, though, for something really frustrating like being stuck in endless traffic?
Well, you acknowledge the frustration, you don't pretend it's not there, but then you consciously shift your focus to what you can do.
Like what?
Listen to a podcast, practice some deep breathing, or just observe the clouds. It's about letting go of the fight with reality, because reality always wins that fight.
That makes perfect sense. Acknowledging reality without being consumed by it.
Precisely. Okay, and the final A is adapt. Make lasting changes to your worldview and your expectations.
Like bigger picture stuff.
Exactly. A perfectionist might consciously choose to lower their standards slightly in certain areas. Deliberately practicing optimism or maybe creating a daily gratitude list can build incredible mental resilience over time.
So building a worldview that helps you weather life's storms better.
Spot on. And the comfort here, I think, is knowing that there are really only these 4 ways to respond to any life stressor. It simplifies our approach considerably, doesn't it?
It really does simplify things. Okay, what other tools can help us gain that initial awareness and maybe calm down when we feel that spiral starting?
For pinpointing specific triggers, stress diaries and journals are invaluable.
Right, writing things down.
Yeah, regularly logging the time, date, your stress level maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, any physical symptoms, what you think caused it, and how you responded. This helps reveal undeniable patterns over time.
Like, oh, every Tuesday afternoon after that meeting.
Exactly. Are certain people or times of day consistently causing distress? Journaling just for emotional release or using gratitude journals can also subtly but powerfully shift your focus onto your resources and possibilities.
So you're working with real data about yourself.
Yeah, to make insightful, conscious changes.
And for those moments when anxiety hits hard,
Yeah.
and you need something right now to pull you out of it, like a panic situation.
For immediate relief, especially during intense anxiety or panic, there's the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How does that work?
It pulls your awareness firmly into the present moment by engaging all 5 senses. You find 5 things you can see, 4
Right.
things you can physically feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
Brings you right into your body, into the now.
It's a powerful way to halt those runaway thoughts because your body and senses can only ever be in one place. The present. I actually tried that once when I was stuck in a ridiculously long queue and felt my frustration building.
Did it work?
It really did help pull me back. It's like throwing a wrench into that overthinking machine.
Okay, I like that. So beyond immediate relief, this deep dive also emphasizes a deeper, more structural approach, right? Connecting stress directly to time management. How does that connection work?
Well, if you're often anxious about deadlines, constantly feeling rushed or overwhelmed, sometimes time management strategies can be far more effective than just, say, relaxation techniques alone.
Interesting. So fixing the schedule
Yeah.
fixes the stress.
It can, yeah. It starts with a really critical mindset shift.
Yeah.
You have to prioritize rest and relaxation just as much as you prioritize hard work.
Treat rest as important.
See it as important and worthy of your focused attention, yes. The book offers a framework. First, decide on your core values, what really matters to you.
Okay.
Then, observe how you actually spend your time for maybe a week. Just track it. Analyze if your time use aligns with those values. Then, consciously restructure your schedule accordingly. And finally, reobserve to see if it worked.
So it's about consciously steering your life so your time reflects what matters most.
Exactly. So your energy goes towards what you value.
And what about specific techniques for managing the constant barrage of daily inputs? Emails, notifications, meetings.
Absolutely. Allen's input processing technique is great for this. It helps manage the relentless stimuli of our modern world.
How does it work?
When an input comes in, an email, a meeting request, whatever, decide immediately if it warrants action. Like right then.
Don't just leave it sitting there.
Right. If it doesn't warrant action, ignore it, file it, or schedule it for later. If it does, act on it immediately if it's quick, or schedule a specific time to do it.
So it stops tasks from just nagging at your mind.
Precisely. Frees up enormous amounts of attention and energy. Then there's Eisenhower's method for prioritizing. This is particularly helpful if you feel everything is urgent.
The important turgent matrix.
That's the one. You categorize tasks into 4 quadrants. Important and urgent, do now. Important but not urgent, schedule it like exercise or planning. Not important but urgent, delegate or reschedule if possible. And not important and not urgent, delete or minimize.
Okay.
We're likely familiar with this, but the key insight here for overthinking is that it forces you to consciously ask, is this truly important? Is it truly urgent? That clarity cuts through the mental fog that fuels rumination.
That's a great way to cut through the noise. But what about that not important, not urgent category? For many people, those pointless internet distractions are exactly what they use for a mental break.
Right.
How do we find that balance?
That's a fantastic point, and it really comes down to mindful engagement. The book isn't suggesting eliminating all leisure. It's more about discerning if those distractions are genuinely refreshing you, or if they're just another form of passive avoidance that ultimately drains you or fuels guilt later.
Checking the effect it has.
Yes. The Eisenhower method's power is in making us intentional. If your distraction is helping you recharge, maybe it actually belongs in important but not urgent as scheduled personal well-being time. It's about conscious choice, not mindless habit.
That's a really useful reframing.
Okay.
And for our objectives, our goals, how do we prevent feeling overwhelmed by just vague aspirations?
That's where SMART goals come in: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound.
Most of us know the acronym.
Right, but the book highlights how applying it directly combats overthinking. Making your goals specific cuts down on those vague what-ifs. Making them measurable means you actually know when you've succeeded, preventing that endless reevaluation. Attainable keeps it realistic. Relevant links it to your values. And time-bound creates a clear endpoint, curbing procrastination and rumination about when to start or finish.
So it provides structure and clarity.
Exactly. It shapes and defines your vision, allowing you to act with far more efficiency and, crucially, less mental anguish.
Okay, but what about when we get stuck in specific negative thought patterns? This deep dive talks about cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT techniques, to rewire those. Can you explain that a bit?
Sure. CBT's core premise is pretty straightforward. Our thoughts, not external events themselves, are what ultimately influence our emotions and behavior.
Okay.
So, by changing our thoughts, we can change everything else. The first crucial step is to identify cognitive distortions.
Distortions like warped thinking.
Kind of, yeah. Those inaccurate or unhelpful thought patterns we unknowingly fall prey to. There are many, but common examples include all or nothing thinking.
Black or white.
Exactly. I failed this one thing, so I'm a complete loser. Or overgeneralization. This always happens to me. Emotional reasoning. I feel anxious, so something terrible must be about to happen. Or discounting the positive, ignoring your successes, and focusing only on failures.
I think we all do some of those sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Many of us engage in multiple forms simultaneously, like assuming a partner is acting weird because you feel anxious. That's emotional reasoning. And then blaming it on your own shortcomings, internalization.
So how do we catch these in the moment and start to change them? It sounds like they can be so ingrained.
Well, one tool is a dysfunctional thought record. You basically log the situation, your automatic negative thought, the emotions it caused, and then you consciously identify the distortion you were using.
Like labeling it.
Yes. Just seeing the pattern is powerful. The book mentions Mike, who worried constantly about work. He logged his panic and shame, realizing his thoughts, like others are constantly watching and evaluating me, were rooted in distortions like catastrophizing and mind reading.
Okay, so awareness first, then what?
Then, through cognitive restructuring, we learn to challenge these thoughts like a scientist.
A scientist? How?
You ask questions like, what's the objective evidence for this thought? What's the evidence against it? Are there other possible explanations? What would a trusted friend think about this situation?
Stepping outside yourself a bit.
Exactly. Generating alternative, more balanced thoughts. Like Mike did for his work, worries challenging the everyone is judging me thought significantly reduced his panic and shame.
And for those really sticky, deeply ingrained beliefs, the ones that just won't budge with reflection alone.
That's where behavioral experiments come in. These are powerful. They allow us to test stubborn beliefs out in the real world.
Like a real experiment.
Sort of. If you have that pervasive thought, everyone hates me, you first clarify the belief, then form a testable hypothesis, maybe some people don't hate me.
Okay.
Then you design an experiment. This might involve actively observing people's actual behavior towards you for a week to gather counter evidence, or looking for specific instances in the past where people expressed liking you.
Getting concrete data.
Exactly. Or for someone feeling lonely and thinking nobody would care if something happened to me, they could maybe survey others anonymously about their experiences with loneliness, which can normalize their thoughts and directly challenge the assumption that they're uniquely flawed.
Interesting.
There are even discovery experiments where you just act as if a different, more positive belief were true for a short time just to see the real-world outcome. These provide powerful, empirical proof against distorted thinking, convincing you in a way mere reflection sometimes can't.
Okay, so it's not just about managing thoughts and tasks in the moment, but also cultivating an entirely new way of approaching life. What are these newfound attitudes the book describes, the ones that characterize a non-anxious mindset?
Yeah, these are 5 core attitudes that genuinely foster resilience and composure. They're really about shifting your focus.
Okay, like what?
First, focus on what you can control, not what you can't. This is huge.
Easier said than done sometimes.
True. But imagine you're in a minor car accident caused by another driver. A non-anxious approach would be to gracefully accept the fact of the accident, you can't undo it, and then focus your energy on the practical steps. exchanging insurance info, making sure everyone's okay.
Right. Instead of just fuming about the other driver's mistake.
Exactly. You direct your energy where it actually makes a difference. Second, focus on what you can do, not what you can't. If one plan fails, instead of dwelling on the setback, ask, okay, what can I do now? Seek creative solutions. Turn obstacles into opportunities.
Being adaptable.
Very much so. Third, focus on what you have, not what you don't have. The classic glass half full perspective.
Gratitude again?
It ties in, yeah. If a birthday cake gets ruined, instead of stressing, maybe focus on the remaining decorations and candy to creatively improvise a new party game or activity, making the best of it.
Okay.
Fourth, focus on the present, not the past or the future. Anxiety often lives in past regrets or future what-ifs. Pulling your awareness to right now is where useful action happens and where you can actually appreciate current joys.
Like the grounding technique.
Very similar principle, yeah. And fifth.
Which one do you think is the most challenging for people to adopt out of these 5?
Ooh, good question. Maybe this last one. Focus on what you need, not what you want.
Need versus want. Okay.
In our world of just endless choice and aspiration, simplifying things by prioritizing what's truly fundamental to your well-being, your core needs, is incredibly difficult, yet incredibly liberating when you can do it.
How so?
Well, for example, when house hunting, instead of getting lost in every minor want, the perfect tile, the exact right shade of paint,
Yeah, the endless list.
focus on maybe 3 non-negotiable needs, like price range, a garden, and 3 bathrooms, whatever they are for you. This cuts through the paralysis of too many options, which directly combats overthinking.
That makes perfect sense. It simplifies everything.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about managing our emotions more directly, when they threaten to just overwhelm us?
That's where the emotion regulation via the opposite action technique comes in. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, maybe.
Opposite action.
Yeah, it's about acknowledging your emotions, even painful ones like fear or rage, without letting them drive your behavior.
Okay, so you feel it, but don't act on it impulsively.
Exactly. If fear is encouraging you to avoid something or blame someone or just be negative, you consciously choose to act in the opposite way, maybe with confidence or approach or hope.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Back to that car accident scenario.
Yeah.
Even if you feel intense rage bubbling up, you might choose, just for the next 10 minutes, to speak calmly, to actively de-escalate, and not to return any insults if they're thrown your way.
So you're not denying the anger.
Not at all. You acknowledge it internally, but you're choosing not to be dictated by it in your actions.
Yeah.
And often, doing this actually dissipates the intensity of the emotion and prevents regrettable actions. It empowers you to choose your response, rather than just react.
This deep dive has really shown us that overthinking isn't some permanent state we're just condemned to, is it?
Not at all.
It's a destructive behavior, as the source puts it, that we can actively choose to stop. From those immediate grounding techniques to rewiring fundamental thought patterns and adopting these powerful new attitudes, we really do have an incredible toolkit at our disposal.
Absolutely. By cultivating awareness, strategically managing our environment and our time, challenging those distorted thoughts, and consciously shaping our emotional responses, we can truly take back control of our inner world.
It sounds like work, but possible work.
It is work, requires practice, but it's about recognizing that while stress is, a fact of life, overthinking about that stress is genuinely optional. With consistent practice, anyone can retrain their brain to work for them, not against them.
So as you go about your day, maybe think about this. If overthinking makes you feel like you're playing an ultra-fast game of Tetris with no end in sight, what small, immediate avoid, alter, accept, or adapt, or maybe that grounding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 action could you take right now just to hit pause, clear your mind, and regain your footing?